In a major development in India-US ties, the Indian Embassy in the United States has extended its contract with SHW Partners LLC, the firm headed by Jason Miller, an ally of the US President Donald Trump. The contract, which has been extended till April 2027, is worth about $1.8 million, which means that the Indian Embassy in Washington will be paying Miller's firm $150,000 per month. Miller, who happens to be a well-known political communication strategist, had closely worked with the US President Donald Trump during his 2016 presidential election. And it is well known that Miller had aggressively lobbied for the India-US trade deal between November 2025 and April 2026. In fact, documents submitted by the SHW Partners LLC to the US Department of Justice show that Miller had spoken to the US Trade Representative Jamie Greer, who's heading the negotiations with the Indian trade representatives for at least 13 times between November 2025 and April 2026. Furthermore, documents further show that Miller spoke to Jamie Greer, the US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, the US Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, and Donald Trump's Chief of Staff Susie Wiles for at least 8 times on February 1 and 2, 2026, when both countries had publicly announced a joint statement stating that the framework of an interim trade deal between the two countries is finalized. Even as negotiations between India and US over the trade deal continue, and many experts have pointed out that the negotiations are in fact in limbo, the extension of the contract of Miller's firm only suggests India's willingness to ensure that it has a strong lobby in Washington that can lobby on the Indian mission's behalf with the US administration. It is significant to note that India had cozied with Miller and his firm soon after the terror attack on Pahalgam in India's Kashmir by Pakistani terrorists and the subsequent India-Pakistan conflict that had led to ties between India and US nosediving after the US president had repeatedly claimed credit for brokering a ceasefire between the two countries. The US president had also slapped India with the maximum quantum of tariffs as compared to the other nations, but the tariffs were later struck down by the US Supreme Court. Now, this year has already seen much deliberation between both countries, with trade delegations from India and US visiting each other and deliberating on the sticking points of the US-India trade deal. But both countries have so far failed to sign a deal as of now. We'll keep tracking this major development for our viewers here at India Abroad. This is Shikha Salari reporting from New Delhi for India Abroad.